crochet. In the intro basic video, I showed you guys how to do a basic chain. And we did a basic chain of 20. Well, here's that chain of 20. We're going to actually use this chain and continuously build up our swatches. Now with Tunisian, you start your foundation row a little different. Well, you can. You can go through the front, but you also can go through the back, the bump in the back. It's preferred to go through the bump in the back, but with some of these darker yarns, like when you get black, you cannot, it's hard to see the bump in the back. It really is. No matter how good of a lighting you have, or bifocals, or even magnifying glasses, it's still hard to see that bump. But we're going to go through the bump today. And the stitch we're going to learn today is the Tunisian simple stitch. It is one of the easiest stitches to learn. Now, go ahead and rotate your work. Find that first bump. It's going to be after that second chain. You don't want to go through this chain because that's where we're pretty much holding tension. So you go to, that's one, there's two, flip it, and it's right there. And then you just take your needle, and sometimes you're gonna have to work it a little bit, because sometimes these get a little tight because of the way that the work is done. You get it in there, and then you're gonna grab a loop, take your needle through, twist, pull through, keep the loop on your hook. That's the thing that turns a lot of people away from Tunisian, is because you gotta keep your work on the hook, and all these loops get daunting. So let's go ahead and get this next one. There's some little tricks and tips to, you know, pull these through. Sometimes I will grab one of my smaller needles and work it through, and because my needles aren't as sharp as a lot of people's. The sharper the needle, the easier you're going to have to get through. But sometimes I do that, sometimes I don't, depending on what I'm doing and the type of yarn I'm working with. This yarn, it's just a scrap yarn that I have a lot of, so I'm just doing these tutorials out of scrap yarn. But keep going through, getting these loops on there. And like I said, sometimes you're going to have a little bit of a wrestle with it, and you may have to wrestle with it a little bit. And so you can see right there, I just split the yarn. That's fine. You just pull back out, grab it. Actually, what you can do is you can stretch it out a little bit, and it all falls back into place, and then you can just go right back on in. And make sure you're not splitting the yarn again. And bingo. And then just keep pulling through. Now, I'm not going to be I'm not one of these fast crocheters that are going to sit there and just tell you what to do and then crochet really fast. I'm going to work with this. We're going to do 5 rows of these stitches together, step by step, because how else are you going to learn? Some of these YouTube videos, and nothing, I'm not knocking them, but sometimes they just go way too fast, and you can't see what they're doing. And then, you know, they do 3 or 4 stitches with you, and then they say, we'll meet you at the end. Well, what am I supposed to do in between time? You know, you show me, am I supposed to hit rewind to learn that stitch over and over again? And that's what they expect. But I'm not going to do that. We're going to do 5 total rows together, and then you'll do the remaining 5, and I'll do the remaining 5 off screen, and then we'll meet up at the end. And I'm trying not to do music. I find those annoying on YouTube videos, especially the crochet tutorials. I'm not here to listen to some stock beat track. I'm here to learn. And I like it when people talk. Now, I know not all... Sorry, I have a puppy in here that... He's my shadow. He can't go nowhere without me. And I can't go nowhere without him. But you can see how that's starting to, like, get all these loops on here. And that's what turns a lot of people off, because they don't know how to handle all these loops. They think they got to handle them all at once. And you don't. You don't handle them all at once. You just let them sit up there. Let them all gather up. Congress together. And let them chit-chat while we're bringing more of their friends along. And you just got to go through that back bump again. Just keep on going till we get to the end. And we'll bring up all these loops. And we should have 20. We're going to count, and we should have 20. Because our base chain was 20. But I've been doing Tunisian for about 8 years now. I started crocheting when I was actually 14. We had a bad blizzard where I lived, and I lived with my grandmother, and I was bored, and she taught me how to basic crochet and at 14. And so for years and years, all I did was basic crochet. Okay, so we are at the end. So let's count our loops. And you see how they just sit on there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. All right, this is our foundation row. What we just did pulling up the loops is called your forward pass. Now we're going to be making our return pass. So with the return pass, it's always you pull through one, which we just did, okay, and then you chain one, which we just did. You chain one. Now the rest of the row is done exactly the same way. You pull through two. Sorry, my hand kind of slipped there. Pull through two. And we're going to do that all the way down till we have only one loop left on our hook. All right, we're at the end of the row. Now, this is what we're going to do for the Tunisian simple stitch. You see how you have two bars. You have a front and a back, right? Here's your back, there's your front. We're going to go through the front, and that's all you do. Go through the front. Poke your needle through, wrap your yarn around, and pull through. And you're going to do that all the way down. But until we get to the end. The end is a little different, okay? So let's continue doing this until we get to the end, and I'm going to show you how we handle the end, because you're going to have a gap at the end, and I'll show you how to handle that. A lot of people that do Tunisian don't know how to handle that gap. There is a special way to do that gap at the end, because you got that chain one. Chain one creates a little bit of a curved gap, and a lot of people just think going through that hole is doing it. No. So let's just insert between you're taking the first one, yarn over it, and coming through. And we're just doing that all the way down. And I was talking about rows. For the purpose of these swatches, we are counting these rows. We're going to count the foundation as a row. Most people won't, but I am. I'm not most people. I tell you to do whatever's comfortable for you. All right, we're at the last one. That was our last bar. Now you see how you have, at the very end, you have that chain right there. Right there. This is how you're going to handle this. You're going to bring your needle down to the row, bend, literally bend your work into your needle, and you're going right through those. Bingo. See? Now you yarn over, and you just pull through. Now with every end stitch, you're chaining one. So I want you to chain one. See? Now, it's wrap and pull through two. And pull through two. See, it's such a simple stitch. It helps with, like I said, it makes Grafghans crisper, in my opinion. Plus with Tunisian in general, the Grafghans and Afghans, anything you make with, like, especially the simple stitch, it comes out so much warmer. I've made myself a few throws. I've made my husband a few throws. My parents, friends, family, and they say they swear that it's the warmest throw they've ever they've ever had. And I believe them because they are. The way Tunisian works is Tunisian actually uses roughly, I'd say roughly 35 to 50% more yarn than regular crochet does. But you can see why. It's because you have that return pass. All right, let's pick up another row. So we're going to take our needle, put it between the front vertical bar, put our needle through, wrap around, and pull through. And we're going to do this all the way down again. Now, and it's easy to tell with Tunisian simple stitch what row you're on. 1, 2. Now we're working on row 3. And like I said, normally you wouldn't count the foundation row. I am. So let's go ahead and work. I split the yarn there. And when you get better at Tunisian, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel when you split yarn. Especially with these wooden needles, you can feel the vibration. Because when you do split yarn, it makes a certain vibration. It's indistinguishable. You'll learn it. And Tunisian is one of those that I can't do without looking at. But that's fine because it helps me, keep my mind busy. And it allows me to pretty much getting my own mental space and just be me and not think about what's going on with pain in my body, my mental health, what's going on in the outside world. I'll put on a TV show and just crochet away. I'll listen to the TV show. I'll peek up every now and then. But Tunisian is one of those, for some reason, I cannot just not stare at it. Like you can with regular crochet, you can look away. All right, we're at the end row. Remember what we do. We drop down, fold our work, because you're getting those last 2 hooks or chain right there. You're going to wrap your yarn over, and then you're going to pull through. Now we're here, so what do we do at the end? We chain 1. So let's chain 1. Now, we chained our 1. Now we poke through, wrap around, and we pull through 2. Sorry, I'm losing my grip. There we go. What the heck? All right, got it. And then you pull through 2. Now, I'm in no way a master in Tunisian, but I do feel that I am really skilled in Tunisian. I know most of the stitches, and there's a few stitches we're going to learn together. I'm going to learn them as we do them, and there's not many. I've made quite a few things in all these different stitches. Like right now, I'm making a scarf in the Tunisian full stitch. But you just continue just wrapping your yarn and pull through. Wrapping your yarn and pull through. And like saying when I was younger, I learned when I was 14. I'm 46 now, so that's 32 years that I've been crocheting. 8 years of that has been Tunisian. As soon as I found Tunisian, I tried it with the regular crochet needle, and then I tried it with one of the long Afghan needles, and I fell in love with it. So I bought me, this is my actual second Tunisian cabled set. The first one I kind of retired it in a way. It's sitting in a drawer right over here. But I love Tunisian. My husband, not so much. It's not that he doesn't like how the stitches come out. He doesn't like having all the weight. When you're making a throw or making a blanket, you end up getting the weight on you. I like it because I'm always cold. Now, the thing with Tunisian, most of these Tunisian stitches, you're going to get a curl. You can see the curl starting to happen where our base chain wants to start rolling up. That's going to happen. The reason why is because we're working in the front of the product. And so you're going to continuously pull it. There's a few stitches that we'll learn that it doesn't curl. But we'll learn those later. Now, let's go back through. You're going through the front bar, wrap around, pull through, That's all we're doing. And I'm going slow for you guys so you can see and you can understand and you can be able to understand Tunisian a lot better. Tunisian is starting to take off, which is great because the products that Tunisian makes are phenomenal. I wish I would have found Tunisian a lot sooner than I did. I'd be actually more skilled in it. And the thing I hate the word thing I dislike is when you're trying to do the master crocheter through the Yarn Council or etc. Tunisian's not even covered. You know, so that's what I dislike. But let's continue. Sorry, I do talk a lot. And I'm hoping that's fine with you guys. If not, let me know. Leave a comment down in the comment section, and we'll go from there. All right, now we're at the end. Now we got to get that end loop because you can see how it makes that extra loop. It makes that loop actually pretty big. So you drop your needle. I say drop your needle even with the row you just did, and then you push your needle, fold the work, and push through, and then you grab, yarn through. Now again, we yarn over it, chain 1. Now let's pull through 2. And we're going to continue pulling through 2 all the way down the line. And that little clinky you're hearing is my cable hitting my desk. So how many rows are we at? 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to build up this row and pull through. And then I'm going to let you guys finish the remaining rows. So we have our initial here. We're going to go through. Bingo. See how easy that is, though? I mean, it is so easy. And I like the way it looks. And with Tunisian, with the simple stitch especially, you can tell when you have missed a stitch. Because like say this row here will merge. You'll see the I call them railroad tracks. You'll see the railroad track move. People call them post. I like to look at it like, you know, as a railroad track. Each one of those is a railroad track, and you can see when the railroad track deviates. So we're going to continue doing this till we get to the end again. Remember, the first front bar, and then boom, front bar, yarn over, pull through, front bar, yarn over, pull through. And let's continue. We're almost there. We are almost there. Now, we're there. So remember, we just tightening up this row that was just on. So you drop down, fold over, boom, and yarn over, pull through, yarn over, chain 1, and that gives you a better clean edge. Otherwise, you're left with that big space, and it doesn't look good. Before I figured that out to do it that way, I did some of my projects like that, and no, I wish I didn't. I wish I would have known that sooner. All right, now, so we chain that 1. Now we yarn over and we pull. We're going to pull through 2. Pull through 2. Pull through 2, all the way down to the end. Oh, see, I felt that yarn split right there. Pull through 2. And there's some great Tunisian crocheters out there. There's some very great ones. And they have great tutorials. I will link some of them on my main page. or down in the comments, or description. I'll figure that out because I'm new to YouTube. There's some great ones. And then there's some that like to teach. Again, I apologize about Tazzy in the back. But if I try to record without him, he whines. So it's either do a video with him whining or without him whining. But anyway, I'll put the description, or those YouTube channels in the description, so that way you can follow them as well. They're great. And then you got some that just shows you the stitch like 3 or 4 times and then expects you to finish and know it by then. And you got to hit rewind God knows how many times to get the stitch down. I don't like that. That's what frustrated my husband until I started learning all these other stitches. But, all right, we got 5 rows done. 1, 2, 3, 4, and we count this row. That's 5. I'm going to let you guys finish the next 5, and then I'll meet you back at the end. All right, we're just finishing up our last row here, and we're just going to pull through, continuously pull through. Just about done. All right, we got our 10 rows done, right? So, now if you're going to use this stitch and you want to continue making like a throw with it, or any product, you're going to want to learn how to close this off. That is pretty simple. Closing off your project. And it all depends on the type of stitch you're using. Since we're using a basic stitch, you're going to the Tunisian simple stitch, you're going to use the Tunisian simple stitch to close off. What you do is you pull through like you would pulling up a loop, but you're not done. You're trying to keep one loop on the hook. So you're going to do it again like you were doing all this whole row swatch, but you're just trying to keep one hoop. And you would do that all the way across. Now, we're not going to close this off. I'm just showing you guys because this is part of our continuous swatch that we're going to be doing. The next stitch will go right on top. But you could do that all the way across until you got to the end, and then when you're tying it off, do an extra chain, and then do a slip stitch, and then weave in your stuff. We'll get down there, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. I'm not going to, you see how that closes off, and then that goes in your chain here. That's what it looks like. So it's uniform, and that's what I like about it. If you went through the actual chains, the bottom wouldn't look like that. Plus, if you're making smaller items and you need to stitch them together, if you do like the bump here on the basic chain, you're able to stitch it together with another item easy. We're just gonna work our way down to the end. But like I said, we're not gonna close off because I want us to continuously, I slipped out, build our swatches on top of each other, so that way they take up less room. You can hang it on your wall. All right, remember we're at the end. Even when you're closing off, pull through. Now here you don't actually have to chain one. You're just gonna do that. Now you can chain one. Then you would snip off your yarn and pull through and then tighten that chain. But we're not doing that. So that's how you close off a project. But for next week, our next stitch, you're going to want some way to keep track of your rows. I brought these out because they're going to help me keep track of the stitch. But until next week, I want you to hit that like and subscribe button, please, to help these videos get to more people and learn Tunisian more. If you would do that for me, it'd be awesome. But I'm going to go ahead and let you go. Remember to keep stitching. If you need to practice, just keep building up on this. It's a very simple stitch. That's why it's called the Tunisian simple stitch. Just keep building up on it, okay? If you want to. But anyway, until next time, keep stitching.